This video is presented by June O'Brien, Cummings Library Write Club, Palm City, Florida. Short story writing. Based upon Charles Raymond Barrett's book, The Art of the Short Story. Copyrighted in 1889, a time when William Sidney Porter, known by his pen name O. Henry, was one of the best American short story writers. Chapter 2 consists of the following: ideas, characters, and conversations. This video will be the discussion on how to write characters. Characters are patterned after the people of real life, their hopes, fears, joys, sorrows, sins, the moral victories of men. That is what interests us. A character is a composite of the most striking characteristics of several real persons. How many characters are in a short story? Principal or speaking characters, there are only two and frequently one person. Other characters help out the action, but without form, life, or influence, appearing on stage, not speaking. Characters must be unnaturally isolated with little past and less future, and most strangely lacking in relatives. There are two principal speaking characters. They are made usually interesting on account of their loneliness. They represent the human race, and if they fail us, we are in sad straits. They provide only a cursory treatment of ancestry and breeding and family, and must stand out sharply from the page, leaving no doubt of personality. Character development is not an invoice of traits either. A careful description of the appearance of the character may be necessary to understand the story. Yet, a mistake which seems hard for novices to avoid is telling everything possible about the character with considerable, irrelevant matters without regard for their true value, leaving nothing to the reader's imagination. He was tall, deep-chested, broad-shouldered man, having a light complexion, dark mustache, hair, and eyes. There's nothing to distinguish the particular person from scores of other people possessing the same general traits. Leave it to the reader's imagination, as Charles Dickens did in Christmas Story. Oh, but it was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, confessed old sinner, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out generous fire, secret and self-contained, and solitary as an oyster. The cold within him froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shriveled his cheek, stiffened his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, and spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head and on his eyebrow and his weary chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog's days and didn't thaw at 1 degree at Christmas. Give the sensation to excite similar sensations in the mind of the reader. Clever character predictions consist of selecting and presenting only those salient details which will serve to body forth a vague image. Build a complete character upon a single characteristic. Sherlock's home and his pipe. Jimmy Durante, shaking his tie, ha-cha-cha-cha, and his oversized nose. When once introduced, the characters should be allowed to work out their identities with the least possible interference from the author. Create a character with one of the features below. or with your own trait. In summary, use your own personal experiences and intense feelings for ideas. Short stories must lead up to something and arrive somewhere. They depict a character, plead a cause, or point out a moral. Short stories have one or two main characters. Distinguish them from scores of other people possessing the same general traits by building a complete character upon a single trait. Characters are patterned after the people of real life. Hopes, fears, joys, sorrows, sins, moral victories of men. That's what interests us. The next video will cover Chapter 2, Conversation.